And bit of luck there. The boat started to sink, but there were some steps there, and Alf and the crew just walked ashore.
Yes.
Without getting their feet wet. So he didn't need a lifeboat himself on that occasion.
Thank you, Joe Basso.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Well, in 1944, at the age of 18, you're called up yourself. The war is in its last year, and the Navy need no further recruits, so you join the Royal Army Service Corps Water Transport Division and escort ammunition ships from Woolwich to Arsenal. On 48-hour passes, you meet up with an Army pal who's also from the South Coast, and you frequently travel back to London together.
That's when Alf gave an entirely new meaning to an Army posting.
You haven't seen that Army friend for 30 years, but he's here tonight, Arthur Pike. And with him, another Army pal from the thing.
Arthur, how are you?
Lovely, where are you?
Tony!
It's lovely as ever.
Arthur, how did Alf give a new meaning to a posting?
Well, Eamon, we used to meet up after we'd been on leave for the weekend, and we used to travel back on the mail train. Well, on this mail train, it used to travel up through the night. There was several first-class carriages which weren't allowed to be used, but somehow or other, Alf had managed to get hold of a key. And he used to wait for me and open the door quietly on Poole Station. I used to slip in, and we used to have a comfortable journey all the way back to Waterloo.
And I was waiting on Waterloo Station, and they would always arrive with the morning post.
Yes.
And that was one of the finest postings I ever had, thanks to Alf.
Thank you, Arthur Pike and Norman Verrier.
Great to see you.
Arthur, I'd like to say it. Norman, you old figure.
Well, peacetime sees you back in Weymouth to run the pleasure boat business, started by your late father. Now, Joan, that's when you met Alf and you knew that you'd made an impression.
Oh, yes. He gave me a free trip round the harbour.
Very romantic.
Oh, it wasn't.
It wasn't?
No, not a bit. Afraid I'd get seasick ever so easily.
Well, now, Alf was already a member of the lifeboat crew when he proposed to you, Joan. Were you fearful about the dangers you knew you'd have to face?
Well, first of all, when we were married, I used to worry a bit, but as I got older, I got used to it, and I didn't take much notice.
In fact, you were married at St. John's Church, Weymouth, on December 26th, 1950. And you were made second cox of the lifeboat, the Frank Spiller Lock, in 1958, and it's 1961 when a cargo ship, the Vectis Isle, strikes a breakwater in thunderous seas, and it's your part in that rescue that convinces a great hero of yours that the time has come for you to succeed him.
And if there's a better man to be with at sea in a tough corner, I have yet to meet him.
At that time, cox of the Weymouth lifeboat, holder of bronze and silver medals, your great friend, Fred Palmer.
Hello, Fred. Whatever have they done to me?
Fred, tell me what happened that day.
Well, it was New Year's Day on the 1961, and we had a message about the Vectis Isle. We proceeded to the scene of the wreck, got to the North Passage, tremendous sea, and with the aid of a searchlight, we found the wreck laying broadside to the breakwater, and the sea was going completely over her. Anyhow, in the meantime, a tug had come down from the dockyard in Portland, had one look at it. That was sufficient. He went back to Portland. But I knew the crew had ideas like I did that we should get this boat off. And with the aid of Alfred and company, who looked after me wonderfully as regards seamanship and coolness, we got it off. We towed her to Weymouth and tied her up alongside of the wall. And believe me, I've got no worries for the future at that time. If another coxswain was required, there's your man.
Thank you, Fred Palmer.
Thank you very much, Fred. I very much appreciate it. All right.
Now, Lionel Hellier, you're one of the longest-serving members of the crew. What sort of cox did Alf turn out to be?
Oh, he's the finest coxswain we could wish to have, Eamon. He's so confident in everything he does. He makes us all feel very safe. But I made his eyes water one day. Some time ago, we found ourselves 6 miles off of Portlandville. There was a full gale blowing, the sea was very rough. We were searching for a ship that supposed to have been sinking. We arrived in this area and found nothing, which meant we had a long search. We started searching 1 hour, 2, 3, 4. It went on, it was 11 hours when it finished. And we found out it was a complete hoax anyway. But later on in the afternoon of this search, I was on the after deck sucking a piece of butterscotch that Alf gave me. And I was watching a Russian ship that was passing through binoculars, you see. And I could see the Russian skipper looking at me through binoculars, and we looked a bit stupid at each other. And at this time, this bit of butterscotch was playing me up because it was sticking to my top plate, you see. So I took my teeth out, and went to flick it over the side, and I flicked my teeth down on the deck. Just as I went to grab it, the sea washed over the stern and washed them straight over the side. Well, I looked down, looked at this Russian, and he looked as though he was enjoying himself, and I gave him a little sign, and I strode up to the wheelhouse and opened the doors, and I completely made their day when I said, "Christ, Alf, I've lost me bloody teeth." So, when I say I give my eye teeth for Alf, you know what I mean.
Well, Alf, your family connections with Weymouth Lifeboat go back 3 generations, and we're taking another look at Weymouth right now to hear from the latest generation, your grandsons, 5-year-old Dane and 3-year-old Paul, who have a special name for you, I understand.
I like worms. Like worms. That's two. I like going after the lifeboat house. While you're away. When you're away. We're looking after the lifeboat house.
Well, their bedtime has been delayed this special night, and with your son-in-law Frank, here they are, Dane and Paul.
Hello, my Paul. How are you? All right?
Well, right now, Alf, as you're surrounded by your family, I'd like to take you back 9 years to the 31st of August 1968, when you meet up with another close family in life or death circumstances. They'd set sail in their family boat that morning from Cherbourg at the end of a family holiday. 10 miles off Weymouth, the sky turns pitch black and a violent storm creates boiling seas. The mast snaps like a matchstick, the engine fails, and the stricken craft with the family of 5 is swept towards menacing rocks.
And until Alf's lifeboat came into view, I thought we were headed for disaster.
The family you rescued when their carefree holiday sail ended in nightmare: Peter Ongley, his wife Doreen, daughters Charmian and Rosalind.
Nice to see you. Hello, my dear. They've grown a lot since then, haven't they?
Now, Peter, tell us what happened next.
The next thing that happened was one of the crew members, Bert Legg, leapt on board and fixed a tow line.
Doreen?
Yes, well, by an astonishing piece of seamanship, Bert managed to get the lifeboat alongside and so enable us to be towed safely back into Weymouth.
We really thought this was it until a lifeboat came along.
Now, Peter, there's a postscript to that story, isn't there?
Well, yes, there is. We were all very grateful for what the lifeboat service did for us that night. But my mother was so impressed that since then, she's devoted a great deal of her spare time to doing voluntary work for the Lifeboat Institution.
I felt that as a thank you, it was the least I could do to the lifeboats, to thank them for saving all our lives.
Well, Alf Favey, thank you very much. With thanks for helping save some 300 lives, Alf. This is your life.
Thank you very much.